that's like a halo and run away. So I was thinking of like Halo.
Oh.
Because I think that's his last name.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it's pronounced is just like Halloran.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But also when he couldn't remember his own name, I thought that was kind of interesting.
I was like, is it your name?
Mm-hmm.
That isn't. I like that. Like the wordplay you did that there. You did like with it, because I feel like I usually do that, and I did not catch that. But that's interesting. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was creepy at first.
Yeah,
And
me
then-
too. I was just reading my notes on my 107. I wrote, Halloran gives me weird vibes.
Yeah. I was, at first I wasn't a big fan, and then when he said, I already told this to Chris, so we kind of talked a little bit. We tried not to go into it, but we did. When he mentioned, he's like, oh, dog, and I went back searching to see if they had said the name, and they had it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, I was like, I don't like this dude. But then when he's like, oh, my grandma is one too, and so am I, and I was like, okay, I like you. Don't leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
And like when he describes like, oh, I can sense when other people have the shining. He's like, and yours is really strong.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On that part, I was like, oh my gosh.
Do you think it's true when he says though, like, because I think he tells him like they can't hurt you. They're not real. It's like a picture. Like just look away and it'll disappear. Oh. Do you think they're gonna be able to hurt him or physically touch him? Because he has like this thought, right? We've read already like a third of the book, right? And he hasn't really had like
I think he doesn't really know. He thinks that they won't hurt him, but I think he's unsure. He wants to believe that they won't do anything to them. I feel like it's like a thing where he's like, I know that it's not gonna happen, but he doesn't know. So I feel like him saying that, you're like, oh no, they're safe. But it's kind of like, what is that word? Not contradicting it, but it's kind of like, I would say like a clue of like, hey, they said this would happen, but it's not a for sure thing. So like, I think they will hurt them.
Because doesn't he keep emphasizing that he thinks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's
it's
like because he's never had like a one-on-one interaction with any of them. Yeah. He's seen them, but like he doesn't really go into depth as to like because he says like, oh, if you look away it comes back, like it disappears. But then he tried that, right? He did that in the presidential suite where he said that there was like blood splatters all over the wall and they looked fresh. He said he looked away and then when he looked back it was gone, but then it came back as they were leaving the room.
At first, wasn't it like the blood, like it was there, like the scene, but it wasn't fresh. He looked away and it was gone, and then he looked back, and then that's when it was fresh. It was right?
Fresh. That it was running. It's starting to run. That
I feel like the fact that Halloran, or however you say his name,
we'll just call him Dick.
I'm gonna call him Dick.
So much easier.
The fact that he said like, you're one of the strongest one I know, or like one of the strongest one I can feel I've ever known. I think the rules will not apply to whatever Dick knows. Like he's had these experiences, but I feel like they're not going to be exactly
his shining. Yeah, his shining's not as bold.
Exactly, which is kind of sad because it's like you're trying to help him out, but I think he's not all the information is false, but it's not 100%, you know?
I agree with you, Judith. I think he's so much stronger, something like worse is going to happen to him. Especially when he goes into the trance and it seems like he's going into the mirror or something. If he goes too far into their like little ghost side, then something can happen to him.
Yeah, that's...
Is that really like a thing? Because I know they keep referring to a mirror, but like, is that a thing where because this is the first time is this the first time or second time that they've mentioned the mirror, right? He locks himself in the bathroom and Tony says he guides him through the mirror. Is it like is that like part of the thing? Like I mean they've only mentioned it like once, twice. Like, is that how he crosses to the other side and things start to move?
I want to say yes, just because I'm thinking it's going to be like, like the movie Alice in Wonderland. There's another called like Alice Through the Looking Glass or something, and like she's in true life, and then she goes through the mirror, and then she's on the other side where like all the other creatures are, and she has to figure out a way to get back, almost like the Upside Down and Stranger Things, I think. So I'm thinking that maybe that's what's going to happen.
Because that's weird, because then he mentions them happening in real life. Then why would they mention a mirror? Like he's seen them come to life in real life. Like he doesn't need the mirror.
In the other books I read with this kind of like scary stuff, usually sometimes like the things can come to like the real human side, but they're not as strong. And then when they're like in their home turf, basically, they become a lot stronger.
So you think that's when they'll be able to like actually physically touch him, like hurt him?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's just guesses for now, but I feel like that's something that's going to happen.
That's interesting. That's like, it is like Stranger Things when you're in the Upside Down.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Like if you go too far,
Yeah.
And
then you can't fold. I mean, you're altered pretty much.
Yeah.
on the
Damn.
previous chapter too, did you guys catch, because like on, I think mine and Crystal's book, the lions are on the cover, and we talked about like, why are they on there last time? And it referenced a few times like the hedges that look like frolicking lions, and I was wondering if something's going to happen with that too.
Well, he later on says like, oh, he has a dream, right, about a human lion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Something
like slamming a, what is it, like a
The mallet from the
no, not the mallet. It's like that game that kind of looks like the one with the balls. Because he said his dad.
The racket or roquet?
Roquet, yeah.
They don't call it the mallet? I thought they called it the mallet.
No, it's like roquet, right? He keeps like yelling that.
Yeah.
And
Roquet,
I guess
racket. Yeah, you're right.
human tiger slamming against the walls or something.
There's like roke, red rum or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the last part, right? Towards the
Mm-hmm. Well, Dick also mentioned that he's seen them in the hedges, that he's noticed something there. He's like, oh yeah, if you look at that, then like turn around and then it'll disappear. He mentioned that the room 217. I think those are the two things.
No, he said 217. Do not go in there. Like for whatever you do, do not go. But he didn't say anything about the presidential suite, because I think the room 217.
Oh no.
He saw himself, right?
I think so.
Like, because that one happened while he was there.
Do you think that's where the lady died? In the tub?
Yeah, in the tub.
Yeah.
I think so.
Which I feel like we got glimpses, or I got the idea that, you know how we went over in the last video how the guy, like it seemed like they were having an affair, and the guy was like, oh, I need to go get her some meds or whatever, and then he never came back.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how in parentheses, at least in the book, it tells you like their thoughts.
Mm.
There's one that keeps saying like, son of a bitch, take your pills, something like that. And I'm like, is that like Danny getting the, like, not even a vision, but he's seeing like the scene or thinking about the scene that happened? Like, what if he was actually giving like the lady some drugs or something,
like force feeding her?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you said that. I didn't even think about that.
Because it's random. Because I feel like the book does that, where you're going through a story and then I don't know where they switch into the past, and then you get a random thought, and I'm like, what's going on? So you gotta really, pay attention, but it just kind of flows very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily also miss.
I took a lot of notes in this chunk of the book.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting when what's his name? The short guy.
Holman.
Yeah, Holman. He keeps mentioning May 12th, not a day earlier or later. And I was like, like why? Then when something about May 12th, and he makes a comment like, "Oh, the hotel better be here, right? When I come back." And Jack says, "Oh yeah, it'll be here." And Danny goes, "But will we?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Oh my god, I just found the page about that. Yeah.
I was like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah.
It was interesting how it was Halloran's last season too. He mentioned that, right? That he wasn't coming back.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm not coming back." But he knew once he had seen the incident, right, that happened in that room, 217.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. So I know last time I was wondering, like, can he see the future? Is he seeing the past, or is he seeing like things happening in the present when he's not there? And I feel like that was kind of answered because they talked about the precognition.
No.
He's seeing things in the future is what the book said, but then if you flip the past murders, like he is also seeing the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I mean, it doesn't tell you right away. I was like, I know he's having visions, but can he see what's happening?
Yeah.
Can he see what happened? And it was kind of nice that it explained that, or at least it was in the whole scene with Dick, right? Where he was like, yeah, you also have like dreams, right? And he's like, oh yeah, nightmares of things that have happened and all that stuff. And I was like, oh shoot, that's kind of cool. Kind of sad for him though, because he's very young and barely knows how to read. So like the stuff he's seeing, he doesn't actually even understand.
I think he's gonna, like, now that he's learning to read, I think it's gonna hit him one day.
Yeah.
Like, it's not red rum, it's murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even his mom's like worried, right, that he's learning like extremely fast.
Because he wants to know what it is, I think.
Uh-huh.
He's pushing himself so hard.
I thought it was kind of interesting where so Danny's having these dreams, right? And he sees his dad. I think I kind of like he asks him, right? Like, would you ever hurt like me or mom? And he goes like, no. I wrote, like, could this be like a foreshadow, like to show like, oh, he knows something's gonna happen. That's why he's asking, like, would you hurt us? Because he knows something's up.
Yeah.
Like, as we were talking about, like, can he see into the future? Like, I feel like that's what these dreams are telling him. Like, something about the human tiger, right? He said his dad was gonna teach him, and if he has like the tool in his hand, I'm thinking, what if the human tiger is his dad? Like, he turns into like this animal, right?
There's 3 of them. They could be lions instead of tigers. Maybe that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was creepy that, Halloran kept
Sorry.
that nothing can hurt him. And then I remember writing, but his dad already hurt him pretty bad when he broke his arm. So I'm like, nothing in the hotel will hurt him, but I think the dad will.
I thought it was creepy when the bees, right? The nest.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I did the bomb and they all came back. And then while he was having this dream, they were stinging him. How many times did they sting him? Like 14 times?
11 times.
Yeah. And it's like he comes back to put the bowl after he's putting the bowl over
And
it.
was like,
And they're like covered in them. And he's like confused. He's like, is he already starting to see things? Or is that really, like, is it real? Because, I mean, they stung Danny. Even the mom got stung, right? And he even questions, like, is, like, I don't, like, what did I say? Jack thinks wasps didn't sting him, but the hotel did. Like, what does he mean by that?
I feel like maybe it's, like, a way to show that no matter what they do, the hotel's gonna like still come back and get them, even if they like seal whatever, or just like keep themselves protected in a way, I guess. I don't know, it's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, just
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
No, go ahead.
Oh my god! Wow. Once it locks the end, I'm just kidding. I was just thinking, when he was like, I did it right. I know I did it. I waited 2 hours. I'm like, what if he was somehow like having some sort of episode where he thought he did it and he didn't? You know how he's very like, I don't know, I feel like he's just very anxious, or he's like losing it all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that could have happened too, but I don't know. Maybe he did do it right, and the hotel, the ghosts or like the spirits in there are the ones that are keeping them alive somehow instead of dying, you know? That's what I think.
To me, the way I saw it was that kind of like jumping off your guys' idea that when, you know, he did the bomb, right? And it probably did work. But I was thinking, like, something is wrong with the hotel, and that, you know, kind of like Danny said, maybe it's going to cause, you know, something to happen either way. And one of the things that Jack, I think in this chapter thinks is that he's thinking like, oh, maybe just a little drink will make me feel better. Now he's kind of having the idea of like, I need to have a drink. And when he drinks is when, you know, I think like bad things happen, kind of from the first section that we read.
Did you guys see how, well, I have two things to say. But the first thing is like, I think that when he loses his temper, when like Danny's getting stung, there's a movement of him like wiping his mouth with the back of the hand, and Wendy is like, reminds me of when he would drink, oh my gosh, and then she was like, okay, you know, I'm looking into it too much. And then after that one instance, he is doing it again and again, even in the last of the book. So I feel like that's a foreshadowing that he's gonna return to his alcoholism as well.
Or maybe he's drinking and doesn't realize he is.
That's what I was gonna say. When you said that, I was like, what if he drank?
Yeah.
That could be it.
Because I don't know if you guys also saw, I mean, kind of in the same time that he was about to do the bomb, when he was on the roof, he was like, I just feel so at peace. And like this moment's just, like it's made him forget all his troubles. So like, could it be that maybe in the roof, he has like some alcohol up there or something, now that you mentioned that? Or, I don't know, the roof just seemed weird because it's like a pretty dangerous area and he felt so at peace there. Like, I don't know, my first thought was that something was going to happen there, whether he killed himself or if he like brought them up there and then killed them all. I don't know.
You know what I'm thinking now that everything, like, I don't know why this just came to mind, but it's like, you know how everything when it dies it stays in the hotel, right? It's like this place where spirits stayed roaming. He killed the wasps on the what if this is kind of symbolizing that he killed them off, but when you kill things off, they come back. And maybe it's like a symbol. It's like showing you they can hurt you. They're not really here.
Yeah.
Like they're dead. Like he killed them. They're not really, but it's like that was like they were living in the. That's why they just reappeared, right? Because they're really dead spirits, the spirits of the wasps or whatever, but they can physically hurt you.
That's interesting. It's like if the hotel has this like power around it that yes, you can die, but you'll still remain there.
Like
Not
you're stuck there.
But
like your spirit.
There. Yeah. Oh, that's scary. I was just gonna mention the whole like, you know how you said that Johnny asked him if he would hurt his mom or him. Going back to the story with George, because we went more into George's story. And he's like, oh no, you set the timer, and he kept saying, no, I didn't, I never did. But then, wasn't there a line, or like, I have it on my page 166. This is like what chapter? Oh, the first chapter of chapter 14. So a little bit before we hit right before chapter 15. He says, but he had known nothing. He would swear that before the throne of Almighty God, just as he would swear that he had set the timer ahead no more than a minute. So he keeps saying that he didn't do it. But doesn't this sound like he did do it? Right?
I don't know where it is. I haven't found it.
It's the chapter 3 starts, which is chapter 14.
Uh-huh.
And then right before chapter 15, the page before that.
Okay. And then I have something to add to that part too.
That's what you think. Yes.
Oh, the line on the top? No.
Oh, I don't know where yours is at, but like mine literally is like chapter 15 and like chapter 14, and it's down here. So it's like 1, 2, 3,
ahead a little bit
5, 6-ish paragraphs before it ends. 6 or
it's page 117 of our book, Crystal. Top
What
section.
page?
Page
117, you said.
Because he shouldn't have said it ahead at all, right?
Yeah, because we go more into, that was very weird, into George's. Well, first we hear about his play, which I'm like, is it about him and George? Like, it kind of seems like it, because he says there's a gifted student who, something about brutalizing the headmaster, and then another student. I don't know. I just, it seemed kind of weird that he was in a prep school and then he was gonna write about this, and then later he mentions that he sees, I think, Gary as George, and I'm like, are you writing about your experience about, like, you know? But I don't know.
Oh, interesting. I didn't notice.
Do you guys think it's creepy that, I mean, I think Jack Torrance is a narcissist, but he, like, these bad things, quote unquote, happen to him? He kind of says that a lot in the bottom of that section that you just mentioned, Judith.
Yeah.
So I wrote down a few lines that said he had not acted but been acted upon, as in when he beat the crap out of George. And I put, like, sarcastically, I'm sure, on my notes, because, you know, he lost his temper. That's what happened. And nothing happened to him. He lost his temper. And then, like, a little bit later, he says, oh, I haven't done anything bad. These things are happening to me. But then he says, you could sting back, the opposite of what he just said, right? So he's saying, no, you can retaliate, you know, when things happen to you. And he's trying to pretend like he's not doing anything, but it's just bad luck or something. Mm-hmm. And line on that section, they would pay for stinging him. So he is not being like a passive, oh, poor me, this happened. You know, he creates these situations and then he loses his temper and he makes them worse by retaliating. So I thought that was kind of funky.
Yeah, Jack is he's an interesting character. And even I keep bringing up Dick. Like, I feel like this section was just about, like, Dick was one of the main characters that gave us so much, because he said, oh no, I can tell your mom isn't, right, that the mom wasn't ashamed. Yeah. But then he kind of like stayed quiet with the dad. Something's up with the dad y no le quiso decir.
Ooh.
And I was like, what does that mean? Like, let me see if I could find. But maybe, I was like, this is.
Maybe he has some sort of shiny too, but like a worse one where he is just gonna self-destruct or something.
Yeah, what if, like, obviously, because he's like, oh, you're like the brightest. What if he's like super dim or like super dark instead of, you know, because he makes it seem that the Shining is positive and, you know, kind of.
He does say, right, like, oh, I can't read Jack.
Oh, is that what he said?
Right? Like, so he says something when he, like, tries to, because he always tries to read people, like, oh, they have this sort of gift, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I tested your mom.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, and then I tried it with your dad, and he's like, I don't know, that was weird, like a weird feeling or something.
Yeah, he like stayed quiet for a bit, no?
Yeah, it was like, it was weird.
Goodness. What else did I write?
keep trying to get comfortable and I can't.
Oh, I think that I wrote the wasp nest was like a metaphor because how he was saying it won't be easy to get rid of. That's kind of like his life and his mistakes that he's made. They're also not easy to get rid of, and they're coming back to sting him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he definitely has like a twisted view of himself. And on page 109, I wrote something about him having a weakness. And going off what you guys just said, I just feel like when I think about, say, like movies I've seen with like exorcisms or whatever, I feel like they always say, oh, like the spirits will look for one who was kind of like a weaker person. Like they're not going to try to get you to you if you're pure at heart and all this stuff, right? You're well-centered, you don't have any weak links in yourself. But I think Jack has a bunch of weak links, and maybe one of like the evil spirits is going to get him to do something bad.
Like possess him?
That's a good
Maybe,
point.
in a way.
Shoot. I didn't think about that. It makes sense though.
Doesn't this section of the book also go into Jack's childhood? Or did I totally miss that?
Let's see.
Like, doesn't it say that he was playing outside and a neighbor complained and then his dad hit him or something?
Mm-hmm.
And then...
But it was because of his temper.
His dad's temper, right?
No, his temper that he got in trouble, so he threw a rock.
He threw a rock
and the rock hit
at a passing
else.
car.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about his temper.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would play football. So he's always had a bad temper.
Yeah, I wrote that. Thanks for bringing that up. I wrote that somewhere. That he is going into the whole, like, yeah, I've been an alcoholic, but, like, maybe that was just in me. He was kind of, like, going into the whole, like, something in me is not wired correctly. One, I've always had this bad temper since I was a kid. And he even said for football that, yeah, he played it, but he was just trying to get his anger out. And I think he said he didn't even enjoy it that much. And I was like, dude, that's, wow. Like, he has some serious anger issues that he should, like, deal with, you know? And then he also said, I hope I wrote it down. I think I may have highlighted something about drinking where he was like, or maybe it happened the instant that I had my first drink. And I was like, what? Is that even? I don't know.
Yeah, I also wrote a lot on that section. I agree. That's where it made me start thinking, like, this piece that's saying he was still an alcoholic, always would be, perhaps had been since sophomore class night in high school, la la la. And then it says there was a broken switch somewhere inside a circuit breaker that didn't work, and he had been propelled down. Mm-hmm. And it goes on, and then it says, and his temper, same thing, all his life he had been trying unsuccessfully to control it. And then a little bit above it says, where did it go? He had not done things had been done to him. So I just feel like he doesn't have a good sense of reality. Like, no, you're causing these things to happen because of your temper and your alcoholism. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it happened to me, so he's victimizing himself.
That's what I was gonna say. He's just playing the victim instead of trying to be like, dude, you did this. Like,
instead of being responsible.
It was your
I also felt really bad for Danny in this section, especially when he's kind of talking to Dick. Mm-hmm. He's saying, like, I can, read people, but he doesn't understand anything. And he gets really frustrated. I think he even cries when they're in the car. Mm-hmm. And kind of too, like, when I think he saw, I forget the lady's name, but he saw what she was thinking, and she said
about getting in the guy's pants.
Getting into the guy's pants, and like I thought it was very interesting. Like, why would she want to get his pants? Is it cold? Is she cold? Like, why didn't she get her own?
Yeah.
And then he talks about, like, when he saw his parents doing the thing that makes babies.
Yeah.
He's so innocent. I feel so bad for him.
So innocent. He doesn't.
All these things are happening, and he's really struggling
to understand.
And I think it kind of goes back to that thing which he wants to learn to read because he wants to understand all these. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they use the word like, you know how they keep saying sweet such and such or the presidential suite, and he's thinking candy.
I don't see any candy here. Like he's lying. Yeah. He's just. It's so sad because he has this power and he just doesn't have the knowledge for it, you know? Like, pobrecito. Yeah.
What I wish they did is, like, at least tell us the date so that we know how close they are to May 12th. I know they mentioned something October, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'd like to know, like, specifically, like, how long it took for, because she said, oh, we've been here a few weeks already, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But I would like to know, like, the time frame.
Oh, I finally found the line where it says like he was an alcoholic and always would be, which is like, yeah, he stopped drinking, but he's still constantly thinking about the drink. Like even at the end, he's like, oh, I could really use a drink right now. Or like towards the end. Or God, how I need a drink. And I was like, oh no. One, temper is bad, but also you're a horrible alcoholic.
Did you guys see how there was a little bit about 3 wasps at the end of the last section? And I wrote 3 wasps, 1 for each. Oh my gosh.
Oh. I didn't catch that. But...
Oh yeah, because 3 were in the room, right? Like there was, that's how, like one, or they continuously stung Danny, and then Mom got stung once, but she killed 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Huh. I don't know if it's my book. It's also in that section, or the last like chapter. Wendy, at least I counted it twice, called Jack John.
What?
Typo in my book, or
what
actually happened? Well, mine the first. Well, the second
I
one.
have the same book as you.
194. 194.
Oh yeah, I see it.
What chapter is that one?
It's so right the last one, because I'm going from back to front. It's
I see.
The last chapter. Does it say John?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you get the PDF?
Oh yeah, we got
John Torrance.
Sorry. I have it at the other one. Let me find it. Okay, so the first one was in chapter 15 when they're having such a like cute little moment where it's like, oh, are you happy, babe? This is the happiest I've been since we were married.
Oh yeah, John Torrance.
And she says John Torrance, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a typo, because it could be a typo. But then it happened again. Why do you think that is?
Maybe it's his other name.
Who is John Torrance? I don't know that.
It's Jack, but they call him John.
Do you think maybe like
oh boy.
Jack?
We missed something in the first.
It's really weird. I don't know. I caught that and I'm like, it's Jack, not John, but I don't know.
Let's see. I think I wrote down his full name.
No, John I didn't. Daniel Torrance.
What was it?
John Daniel Torrance's voice, deep and steady.
Where's that?
Sometimes quirking up with amusement. Rico, is this ahead of where we're supposed to be reading?
No, it's not. Okay, let me read that. Let me read the paragraph. It's from the first section. It says his
brow so that's a kid's name?
And his slightly greeny hands clenched into tight fists on his jeans. He did not close his eyes. That wasn't necessary, but he squinched them down to slits and imagined Daddy's voice, Jack's voice, John Daniel Torrance's voice, deep and steady. Sometimes.
Oh, this is Dan?
Oh.
I think it is Jack. This is Jack's voice, John Daniel Torrance's voice.
Maybe.
Because he refers to himself as Jack Torrance when he introduces himself to Olga.
Yeah, and that's how we met him in the beginning, as Jack Torrance.
Maybe he named John after his dad, but he doesn't like his dad because his dad used to beat him, so he goes by Jack.
Oh,
good point.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was so confused, but okay, cool. And that makes sense. John Daniel, because then they, you know, you kind of name your first kid sometimes that, or most people. Yeah, cool. And if he doesn't like
God,
John,
I'm so creepy.
John Daniel, good idea, good idea.
I'm reading my notes and I wrote creepy, but I misspelled it. I was that scared.
How did you spell it?
I spelled it EA. Oh my.
That's funny.
Wait, what did you spell EA?
Creepy.
Oh.
There were a few parts
That scared I couldn't think.
What I think the part that was my favorite in this section was when it was kind of weird, but when everyone left the hotel and it was just them. Like, I don't know why I thought that part was kind of like cool. I was like, okay, everyone's gone, I can relax, but it's kind of
In a haunted hotel.
Yeah.
But like,
it's more like don't let your guard down.
were all the guests gone? Like completely gone? Like it was literally just them?
Mm-hmm.
That's creepy.
Yeah, because they describe the cars in the parking lot, right? Yeah. It's just their little Volkswagen and then the company the hotel car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The truck.
Also, something that I couldn't stop thinking about when I was reading it or listening, because I tried reading it, but it was too slow for me, so I started listening to it again. It's there's a part where I think Wendy's thinking about, you know, it's so nice out here and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
She has her thoughts of saying that the mountains are not forgiving. And then again, in that same paragraph, it says the mountains are not forgiving. So I thought that was kind of weird too.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched the movie, but Itzel, my friend, she likes it, and she said she wanted to join us, but she's been busy with her work. But she was telling me, she's like, oh, just pretty much, because I told her that I don't really know any of the characters, and she was like, yeah, the actress that plays Wendy actually went crazy after this movie.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, yeah, she was like, because even if you look her up online, her face is not your typical like oh my gosh, I think she has like big eyes and
She does.
Yeah, so she was saying like, oh, like she has a different look, and people were like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be like, I think this is her first movie, or I'm not quite sure, can't quote me on that, but she was telling me that she was set to be like a great star in all these different movies, but after this movie she was not okay. And I'm wow. Now when she told me that, I'm like, is Wendy gonna go crazy? Like, we're over here thinking it's gonna be Jack, we're over here thinking, oh, Danny's gonna see something, or like, you know, some of the spirits here and there, but she is going, or like I see an emphasis on her kind of being jealous of Jack and Danny's relationship.
I agree with that.
And it's kind of subtle, but like, how intense can that get? You know, like, oh my goodness.
Especially since she doesn't have a good relationship with her mom, like she could be envious of Jack and Danny.
Mm-hmm. Especially when in that whole last scene where he locked himself up, or like he locked the door in the restroom, and Jack screamed at him, and she was like trying to help him or trying to calm him down, and he didn't speak to her, and he even said like, no, mom, you can go, and he wanted Jack there, and Danny spoke to Jack, and she was like, he screamed at you, like, I'm the one here being tender and caring for you and not being mean to you, and you still want him? Like, oh, I felt like she was just breaking, like she's gonna, oh, it's kind of sad.
thought it was really interesting how Stephen King used the wasps to kind of like make all this drama happen. At first, I read the part chapter like the wasp's nest, and I was like, "What's gonna happen?" I definitely wasn't expecting any of what happened to happen, so I'm intrigued.
I was trying to read about the actress, but I feel like it's gonna give away too much just based on the pictures. It looks creepy.
Yeah, when she told me, I didn't want to look it up because I was like, if I get one spoiler, I hate getting spoilers.
Yeah.
Like,
Rico just closed the window. Okay.
And even when she told me, I was like, God, you shouldn't have told me. And like my whole mind is altered now. Like now I'm thinking I'm thinking she's gonna break. And I wasn't thinking that before. Like at all.
Maybe Wendy's the weak link then.
Yeah, we don't that like changes things, maybe she is.
Yeah. I mean, it could also go back to, I don't know if you guys discussed this, I was kind of looking through the pictures, but like how she keeps saying that Danny prefers Jack, and how like I'm like whatever she does, it's always Jack first, or like she can't really make him feel as comfortable, or not comfortable, just like more at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with her mom, like all the issues she had with her mom and her dad.
Yeah, and I think they even mentioned like if for some reason something in the hotel doesn't work out, or I think because Danny is having all these things, they said, oh, we can send him to your mom, and she's like, this is not an option. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Like, and he's fine, I'll get a different job and we all move together. We're not gonna separate. He's like, I literally do not have an option. This is all I got.
There's also a part that I remember that Wendy thinks, I think it's kind of around the part where everyone left and the hotel was just only them three. And she has a thought, I don't remember if it's a thought or something she says that now it's just us three and you two can't have your own alone time because I'm going to be here as well.
Yeah. I remember that, and that's where I'm also getting the feeling that she's like, we know Jack is completely out of control or like losing it, but he's also like on the verge of kind of reaching that point. Obviously not with alcohol or with the temper, but more with not feeling like she's loved enough or she's not a priority. Like she's missing that mom and kid bond. I feel bad for her too. Danny's my favorite character. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Danny's so funny.
He just sounds really cute.
Yeah.
How old is he? Like 6 or 5?
He's little. He's like a kinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinder.
Yeah. Big boy.
Yeah.
What else happened in this section?
I think guys.
I don't know, but we covered everything I wrote about.
At first, I thought Halloran was a ghost. That's what I remember. That's what I remember when he was.
I kind of got the vibe too.
I thought he was a ghost, especially after he said, "What was my name again?"
That was weird how he did that.
I remember thinking, I was like, is this guy a ghost? I can't tell because they're all seeing him, and I think Ullman even asks about him, but I couldn't tell, and I was just I don't know, but I do like that guy.
Which is why I had to Google if he lives. So apparently in the movie he dies, and in the book, never mind. That's what I'm doing.
Marina does that to me all the time.
If I'm mad, I'm like, Rico, man, what happens?
So just because I went back to like the whole beginning of it, literally the first chapter we read was chapter 8, and it says, you know how Tony warned Danny about the hotel, like the place that Tony had warned him against, it was here. Whatever Red Room was, it was here. So I wrote a note saying, because I'm like, yes, we know Red Room is murder. It could be previous murder, but I wrote like, who will get murdered? And I put like, I think the dad will. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know why. Like I should have like written more about it, because I literally just put who will get murdered, and I just put I think the dad. But I should have gone deeper into it, because then I don't know what I was thinking at that time. I was like, there.
You hate when that happens when you're reading something and like you have this really good thought and you only write down pieces of it, but then you're like, I don't remember exactly what it was I was thinking.
Because I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back and I know what I was talking about, but like we went through so much info, brushed it off.
Yeah, I'm curious to explore in the next section, like what the references to animals will be, because I know that first of all we had the wasps, right, in True Life. We have the 3 lions that are the hedges.
Yeah.
And towards the beginning, it said the old-fashioned fire extinguisher was like a sleeping snake. And I wrote like animals are evil in this book, I think.
There's also rats.
And rats. So
the fire extinguisher thing was weird, because wasn't Danny kind of creeped out by it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, why? And they don't go into detail like with the whole blood stuff or like, you know, any of that. So I'm like,
I think,
what happened?
I think they refer to animals because didn't it describe the carpet as like veins, like kind of like a forest?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why there's like they just describe like a ton of animals, because it's like, oh, it's like the hotel inside is like a forest. So it's like because it's carpet.
Mm-hmm. I also thought it was funny how Danny asks Ullman, why don't you have all the rugs like that? And I think he chose like a really one that Ullman didn't like. And he didn't compliment like the ones that Ullman was trying to show off about.
Yeah. Because I mean, he made a comment like if he liked them, but he was not interested. He was just like, oh yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. And I was chapter 12 when Ullman is giving the tour. I mean, before he leaves, he said, I plan to overnight in Boulder at Boulderado, of course. Only decent hotel this side of Denver. And he's like, I mean, besides the Overlook. But why wouldn't he stay at the Overlook? Why is he staying at the Boulderado? I thought that was weird.
Because he knows something's up.
Yeah, he's really not telling them everything.
Oh, that's a good point, Darling.
Because this was
because he didn't want to hire him, right? He didn't want to hire him. He's like, I only hired you because so and so wanted you. But do you think like because they know what the hotel does to people? Like they specifically selected Jack because of his past?
interesting.
I mean, Ullman must know more than he told Jack to, because he's the one that solves all the hotel's problems, right? And he barely turned a profit this year. So
yeah,
a lot of like dirty secrets and evil things that happened there.
Also, I think about this, but the guy and the family that was there last season, they died, so he didn't have to pay them. So Jack.
That's how he's turning a profit.
Jack's
he's fixing everything, right? He's like the shutters, the roof, the whatever, and he's expecting to have to pay them.
If they die, he's not gonna have to pay them. Well, that's just what I'm thinking.
Assume they die. Fuck. Right. Yeah.
I think he just doesn't want to associate with Jack because he doesn't like him. I want to say that's why he didn't stay over. Puerto Rico, because I mean, assuming that it's not anything supernatural, Oldman could be like an evil hotel manager who's just killing off every winter caretaker, so he doesn't have to pay them, and then he can keep the
oh my god,
leftover money.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, he doesn't want to take up a room. That can be money for him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, also, why not enjoy this great place you're setting up? You know what I mean? Like, go ahead and take the presidential suite. Fuck it one night. Where he works there, you know?
Things have happened there.
I know, obviously. But like, I mean, ignoring the fact that something actually happened there, I was just thinking, like, get the biggest room. Obviously, he didn't happen, so he's not gonna do that.
But they also get snowed in, right? Like, you won't be able to leave unless you have that big tractor snow machine.
You're right. Maybe that too, huh?
I was trying to find something on a page and I realized the book was flipped like way over here. And I'm like, wait, chapter 44.
Yeah, le pasó, Jack. I'm just kidding. Did you guys? Or I was just intrigued by the elevator, how, like, the levels, it didn't reach completely the floor level, like, super even. Yeah. And even when they got off, it kind of went back to almost regular level, and I'm like, oh, I feel like something's gonna happen here. It's clearly not working properly. Yeah. And, like, based on the weight, because there was, 4 people there? Like, it was a bit lower. Imagine, like, one more person. Like, I don't know. Seems kind of sketch. Like, it's gonna malfunction.
One more ghost.
What?
One more ghost in the elevator with you.
For real, yeah.
What if it was full of ghosts?
And that's why it was lore? Maybe, huh?
It's like in the Red Hotel. When you go in there's stairs and you see that there's little ghosts sitting next to you.
Yeah,
hell no.
You like it, the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
I like how Stephen King puts the character thoughts in parentheses. I feel like it's their subconscious of what they're truly thinking.
Yeah. He doesn't tell you who's thinking it, though. Which is it kind of confuses. That's why I'm telling you, when I read that one that said, like, take the pills, you son of a bitch, I was like,
but who is it?
And why? Why are you doing this? And then I remember the story and I was like,
Samantha?
What? Yeah.
Have y'all not seen Frozen 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where Olaf was like, Samantha? He's like, I don't know a Samantha.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite parts.
You don't like that line? Okay. I've seen that whole meme or like all that on TikTok and stuff, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, you can't download TikTok anymore.
I knew that.
Someday.
I guess I'll have to watch it.
It's good. I love it. I think it's really cute. I
like both.
I like the first one a little better.
Oh.
I think it is a classic, the first one, but the second one's really cute.
Oh,
it's really cute.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
At the beginning.
Judith, where you been?
I sent you guys a Snapchat. Cause that's when it came out.
Girl, what's wrong?
Oh, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're both on Disney Plus.
Girl, what's wrong?
Hey, look, you're wearing a Disney thing.
Oh yeah. My students didn't know like what main character was. So I told them, who here has seen Frozen? All the little hands. And okay, in the movie Frozen, there's many characters. There's Hans, there's the Weaselton guy, there's King and Queen, there's Anna and Elsa, there's Olaf, there's Ben, there's Kristoff. I said, but Anna and Elsa are the main characters. They're like, okay, we know what main character is now. I'm like, perfect.
It's cute.
We should see what we're going to read to for the next week.
What was that, Corina?
We should see where we're going to read to the next for the
Oh,
next.
I already predicted we should stop at chapter 22. So read 21. So at 200.
Okay.
So that we read like 61 pages. Because I think we need to read about 60 pages a week to finish it in 5 more weeks.
Perfect.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
What chapter did you say?
So read chapter 21. Stop at 22.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Crystal.
What's of course?
Let me write it.
Got it.
Repeat. I'm sorry. I was having a moment with Cora. What are we reading? Up to where?
Read chapter 21. So stop at 22.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is short. Okay.
It's 60 pages.
Oh, damn. Okay. This is interesting because, like, here, let me show you the page differences between what we read. Because we read from part 2. Like, this is what we read, and this is what I'm reading now. Like, it's smaller. Way smaller.
Yeah, because I think there was like a chapter, the last chapter, 16, was really long.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it was either we read under or read a little over.
Okay, then. I'll put it here then.
I'm excited. I read it so fast. I finished, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday. I read 1 or 2 chapters each day.
Oh my goodness. I was trying to do that, but every time I wanted to read, it was already kind of dark. And I was like,
It's too late.
And I tried to do it after work, and I would get distracted. And then I was like, nope, it's already too late. But I figured it's not too scary. I don't think I'm going to have nightmares. I think I'm going to do it at night.
Yeah, so far it's not too scary.
I'll let you know next week.
Only gonna get worse.
We're gonna get a message from Judith on Tuesday, guys. I haven't slept since.
Didn't you say that the Friends reference thing or the Friends like review said that you're gonna have nightmares?
I
didn't even know you could get nightmares from a book.
You can.
I think it said something about that. I can't remember anymore. But like even over here it says like it's scary. It serves up horrors at a brisk. The chilling novel will make your blood run cold. And
maybe we just have right now we're still getting backstories.
I know. But like since I put the bookmark there, I was like, we're halfway there. No, we're not yet.
Oh, Crystal, I started using the bookmark.
You like it?
I loved it. Thank you so much.
It's so great. It's so great. I don't know where I left it. so nice and thin. I was like, oh my god, the book closes nicely. Like, you know how some bookmarks are too thick?
Yeah.
It kind of like ruins it or makes it too bulky. It's so nice. Like it fits right in. And I thought I had the bookmark in here. And then I was like, wait, where am I? And I couldn't find it because I guess it fell out in like a backpack or something. I don't know. But,
no, yeah, they slide out really really easily because the metal is like with the paper just slides right out.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it where it's like I go like I fling the book like where are you going to go like this and it flies right out.
I feel like you have to really put it on like the
yeah, like in like on the edge.
Yeah.
You can't have it like anywhere else. Yeah.
And it's like part of a grandfather clock.
Should I stop the recording? I should stop it.
Yeah, we're about to start tea time.
Yeah.